is the price. And so when we did economics, it didn't make sense. The economics didn't justify an aluminum plant. And the Minister for Energy at that stage said, I want it to work. How much subsidy do you want? So we worked out the numbers, and now they have one of the most efficient plants. But once we tick the boxes, energy, you also need infrastructure. So we said we'll create a free zone and industrialize the place with ports and other infrastructure. Once we tick the boxes, we required about $2.4 billion to build the aluminum plant. Value addition requires a lot of capital. I was in London on an investment roadshow. $2.4 billion, we had pledges of over $5 billion. Everyone interested because it ticked the boxes. Lowest costs, track record of the operator, infrastructure base, and so on. So in Africa, if you want to do this, then number one, you have to have a reliable energy, low-cost energy. Two, you have to bring in the expertise because it's not like a building a mine where you bring in a mine manager and so on and so forth. It's a very complex thing. So you really need expertise to drive these technologies and so on. So we can do it, but it requires implementation strategies that works, not politicians driving value addition. If we keep doing that, then we will fall back quite a long time. Thank you.
That's very insightful. Thank you very, very much, Engineer. So we are getting to the end of the discussion, but we want to know, we understand that you are focusing a lot of time trying to bridge the industry-academia gap. Can you explain some of your practical initiatives in this endeavor?
Yes, it's been quite a challenge. It's been quite a challenge. So I've been challenging industry to open their doors. So one of the initiatives is I've talked to various companies and governments, and I wanted to start it from Ghana. And so my colleague, who is the chairman of this function, I use him as a test case. He's been awarded a $100 million contract to do the underground development at the DNA. It doesn't mean that you should go to him and ask for jobs. And so what we did is open up for some of our lecturers to join us, the patron, Festus, and others to join us at a kickoff meeting. We are in the process of doing an MOU with UMaT through the mining engineering department, and it will allow lecturers to be part of the project. Anybody on vacation, they'll come and be part of the team, and then they transfer that knowledge back to our students. So that's one. We were supposed to sign an MOU yesterday, but it's been delayed a little bit. The second one is I've talked to some few companies in Australia and Canada who are also interested. But I want it to be formalized because sometimes when they say their implementation becomes a challenge. So I'm going to use with them, and that to gain experience. And so recently, the Queensland government opened their doors for $40,000 per year scholarship for PhDs for us to understand more about post-mining land restoration, because that's an area that needs a lot of research. Very ongoing. We are also talking to industry, bridging the gap between industry and academia. Recently, a company by name Victory Metals signed a partnership agreement with Curtin University to look into rare earth elements, which is very critical for defense, ammunition, and so on. So a number of all these initiatives are going on. But I'm going to challenge on Kwadwo and Southwest. He's a very, very practical man now, worked across the industry, across the world. Now he's in Ghana. So you will do the first lecture, 2 hours. We're going to put it on a paper for him to sign so that it doesn't back off. 2 hours, just teach us mind planning. We can do it on webinar. Then we go around. So 2 hours per month for all the industries. I'll let Festus and our professors, Dr. Sean is here to coordinate with the industry people here. And everybody is going to lock in 2 hours. whether it's human resource, we've got a human resource expert here from Iduaprim. And the topic should cover a wide range, not only technical, commercial, legal, and so on. If we continue to do that, then students can envisage the practicalities of what they are doing because they are hearing from the industry people themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you very, very much. All right. Hello. Hello. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello. Thank you very, very much, Engineer. This should be the last question. What advice do you have for the students attending today's webinar or conference? The final advice to us.
Yesterday, I talked about you hear me? Today, the technology is not working very well. Yesterday, I talked about the importance of conferences and how it shaped my career. So my advice is sit, relax, ask questions. The industry captains are here, employers of new graduates. Find out why some of you are poor. But not only that, don't go to them and say we want national service or internships because they don't have the powers. These days, it's a very complicated process. So they are here to facilitate or give you the information on how to compete, how to position yourselves better. So relax, ask relevant questions, and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much to our father, Engineer Area. We appreciate your time, sir. And I hope that we have all learned. I hope that we have all learned something from our founder today. Thank you very, very much. So we'll move on to the next session, and I will hand over to Ms. Meredith.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nathaniel Osei Champion. We are now going to play Mr. Rodney Elvish's video. So the media team, please help us with that. Thank you.
Having considered all the facts and the stakeholders' views, make decisions and then have the courage to announce the reality and effectively. So the second key word is capacity. Capacity can mean lots of things. In particular, it means your ability to work hard and diligently, always with integrity. It's important with integrity. Integrity is a vital component of your capacity. That's why we also believe as a strict code of ethics that applies to all employees, dealing with students. Humanity also travels big things, big loaders and big trucks. But other big things, big tons of ore, of concentrates, and of tailings, of course, and ounces of gold. Then the third key word of your theme is change. Things are continuously changing. Our duty is to change things for the better. Change comes through things like innovation and increasing efficiency. We have lots of new tools to assist us in change. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, the Internet of Things, but be cautious. We can't always change everything. In considering change, I often think of the serenity prayer. It goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yes, change the good is wonderful, but have the wisdom in making each change. So the conference then again, workforce of the future, building capacity for a changing mining industry is a great theme for this 11th AusIMM Tarkwa Student Conference. And now that brings me to the part of thought for which 18 applicants for the 2 AusIMM Tarkwa Student Chapter scholarships have been waiting. Each of these scholarship winners will receive $1,000 to support them in the development of their career in the minerals industry. Applicants were invited to make a written submission of a topic of their personal interest relating to the minerals industry. There were other conditions, of course. 18 submissions were received by the due date. They covered a wide range of subjects, with many covering several of the related items, and these included making mineral products more energy efficient, renewable energy, climate change, critical minerals, mining, ESG and the philanthropy issues, government policies, and the so-called resource service. And of course, often these were contained along with artificial intelligence as part of the subject, as part of the submissions. The standard was really high this year, with 11 of the papers shortlisted as finalists. But, and here is a hard lesson for some authors of very good submissions. You must always read scholarship application forms carefully, and when they say concise and no more than 2,000 words in length, take note. There were 5 authors whose papers exceeded this limit by a large amount, and they were automatically disqualified. I noticed that most of these came in on the last day for submissions. That might suggest that these authors didn't have time to go through and tidy up any unnecessary repetition and just check their work out. One of the authors actually came in 5 days earlier, and that paper was excellent and under the limits. So before announcing the actual winners, I'd like to make some general comments about the papers. Some authors made what a seasoned old man like me would consider really and perhaps uncritical, just ready acceptance of popular progressive thinking, not necessarily based in fact. Things such as the causes for climate change and some of the reasons around it. In discussing renewable energy, nobody, not one of the authors, mentioned nuclear energy, surely one of the cleaner energy options. So, when considering issues specific to Ghana's mining industry, there is a tendency to undervalue the importance of the global influences on Ghana's minerals industry. Ghana is just part of the global mineral industry. So now to this year's winners. Ms. Asubonteng for her paper, When Resource Wealth Fails, Policy, Governance and External Constraints in Resource Economy, a case study on Venezuela. Congratulations, Ellen. And the other winner, Noah Akikoko. It is paper reducing carbon emissions in mining operations for a low carbon minerals industry. Congratulations, Noah. So in closing, thank you for the honour of inviting me to address you again at this 11th AusIMM Tarkwa Student Chapter Conference. I trust it's a great day for everyone attending, and especially for all of the students present, our leaders of the future, as you go forward to build capacity in our changing mining industry. And God bless you all. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodney Elvish. Mr. Rodney is the AusIMM scholarship sponsor. He has contributed to the professional development of many students in the AusIMM through scholarship. We are grateful for his support. We have in our midst some distinguished guests that we would want to acknowledge. We have Lady Belinda Jenny. She's the real estate consultant founder of Belson Homes. Miss Belinda, can you give us a wave, please? We also have Mr. Osei Efifa. He's the CEO of Memorials Ghana Limited. Mr. Osei, please give us a wave. Last but not the least is Mr. Richard Ansah. He is the Superintendent Communication and External Relations Officer of Anglogold Ashanti Iduaprim. We are grateful to have you all with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all invited guests. Now, the AusIMM Tarkwa Student Chapter is sponsored financially by the founder and a number of stakeholders. Now, the chapter also depends on fundraising to finance its activities. So at this juncture, we'll be raising some funds for the chapter, and the financial secretary of the chapter, Mr. Abdul Momin Abdullah, will lead us through this session. Mr. Abdul. Let's kindly welcome the round of applause.
Hi there, sound. Oh, Zoom meeting.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Distinguished guests, respected sponsors, industry partners, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the AusIMM Student Tarkwa Chapter, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to all those who have genuinely supported the organization of our 11th annual conference. We are deeply grateful to our corporate sponsors, Geological Company Limited, Master Trading Ghana, Panicor Limited, and A4 Mining Services for their significant contributions and commitment to the success of this event. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to our professional and alumni sponsors who collectively support, including both name and anonymous contributions, has been truly remarkable. Your support has made it possible to enhance the quality of this conference, facilitate impactful sessions, and create valuable networking opportunities that will benefit the participants. As we continue with this conference, I am pleased to inform you that our account details will be displayed on the screen for those who may wish to make further support to this initiative.
Wait. Did I just see another?
Find attached the mobile number and name screen in the bank account number too on the screen. We humbly invite additional partnerships and contributions from individuals and organizations who share our common mission. Every support, big or small, will go a long way in sustaining these impactful activities and expanding opportunities for the students. Along the way, envelopes will be shared to the guests for those who may wish to make physical donations. We are inspired by your generosity and partnership, and we look forward to building on these relationships in the future as we continue to advance the industry together. Please contact the Finance Secretary after you have made donations physically. Thank you very much. We are very grateful. We have received donation from Mr. Kwadwo Opoku Ansah. Thank you very much.
Next time we will meet after Mr. Kwadwo Opoku Ansah. Thank you very much for the generous donation. All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Mahmoud, the Financial Secretary for the chapter for the fund. Sorry, Mr. Abdul Mumin. Yes, Mr. Abdul Mumin for the fundraiser, for leading the fundraiser.
Thank you very much once again. All who have sponsored us today and all who wish to sponsor, God bless you. We'll now move on to one of the most anticipated segments of today's conference, which is the panel discussion. So I would like to call upon our panelists to do us the honor to join us on stage. Our first panelist is Mr. Franklin Kluje. He's the Superintendent HR Training Support for Anglogold Ashanti Iduaprim Mine. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. Our second panelist is Mr. Martin Bambo Samini is the Technical Service Manager of Asante Gold, Chirano Mine. Can we welcome him with a round of applause? We also have Miss Ellen Benyarku. She's a lecturer at the Geological Department at UMaT-SRID. Let's welcome her with a round of applause. We have our very own patron, Dr. Clement Kweku Arthur. He is a senior lecturer at the Mining Department of UMaT. Let's welcome him too. We also have Engineer Dr. Yali Ekuba. He's a lecturer at the Mining and Mineral Technology Department of UMaT. Let's welcome him. We also have the General Manager of Adamus Resources, who is in the person of Mr. Kwadwo Opoku Ansah. Please let's welcome him with a round of applause. Last but not the least is our very own chairman for today's conference, Dr. Kofi Peter Amponsa Mensah, the Executive Chairman of Pamico Limited. Let's welcome him. Thank you very much. So we have industry captains and experts here. We are going to have a brief panel discussion. So when the panel discussion is ongoing, if you have any questions, kindly jot them down. After having the discussions with them, we'll come to you, the audience, so that you can also ask your questions. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much to our distinguished panelists for being here. Good morning to us all once again, and welcome to the panel discussion on the workforce of the future, building capacity for a changing mining industry. The conversations are going to explore how we can attract, develop, and retain the talent that is needed for the future, while also ensuring that the industry remains very inclusive, very resilient, as well as responsive to the communities within which they operate. And honestly, I'm delighted to be joined by a diverse group of speakers who are going to bring different perspectives across the mining ecosystem. So without wasting much time, we are going to begin the discussions. Now, this is to begin with Ms. Ellen. Now, as the mining industry transforms through new technologies, evolving operational models, and then changing societal expectations, the skills we expect from our workforce are also shifting. Now, this places increasing pressure on education systems, training programs, and then the companies themselves to ensure that the graduates and the young professionals are equipped with the capabilities required in training, and then education programs change to better match graduate skills with the actual requirements for modern day mining operations.
Thank you. And I'm glad to be here this morning to be part of the
we have some courses on AI, and I think we have been encouraging the students, and now when you look at the kind of experience that they are embarking all I had it was we were not inventing AI based projects work, but today to share the projects with the students and marketing and realize that they are AI. Why? Because and at the moment we should be digital skills, automation, we see that it's pretty that they start complaining. So we believe that one of the students, not that probably, it should be something like that. The students, give yourself and you learn on your own. Taking process on data analysis. Why? Because the world is moving into data. AI is about data. And it's about understanding the numbers of data and be able to transfer them through this machine learning to explain to you. I believe we are on the right track as an institution to create this.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. My question is to Mr. Franklin, the Mr. Franklin, the mining industry today is operating in a highly dynamic environment where productivity, sustainability, and workforce development must all be balanced simultaneously. As companies scale operations and also respond to global demands, the structure and expectations of the workforce are also shifting. So in light of this, in your perspective, how can mining companies maintain operational effectiveness and safety while incorporating the culture of continuous learning?
Thank you very much. So let me look at it in three key areas. So one would be on leadership. Okay. So what we are seeing is where you have leaders concentrating mostly on task management. And so when that talks about giving targets and all that, what is lacking in that area is leaders' ability to mentor, especially people who are early career, I mean, like the graduate students coming to the ability to mentor and coach them. It's one area that is lacking. And if you ask people to define what mentoring is, you can define what coaching is. The bigger question is, how are we doing this mentoring and this coaching to ensure that we are impacting? So that's one on leadership. The second one I will talk about will be on learning. Okay, so I mean, research has shown that especially in the workplace, 70% of work-based learning is on the job. It's about 10% that is running online, and about 20% which is on again coaching and mentoring. How do we ensure that we are impacting knowledge to our people without necessarily taking them from their job? Because you invite them for training and all that, you tell them, well, I need to be the beef and all that so they will come. How do we ensure that we are managing or coming up with structures that will help them while they are working? So those are some of the areas that one needs to start thinking about. Then the third one will be on safety, which is, I mean, the mining industry. Okay, I mean, those are the days where we learn from accidents and all that. The question then is, how do we learn in such a way that will not lead to safety challenges or safety issues? I read recently of areas where we are beginning to talk about simulations, where you have real issues happening, it's simulated, and then people get to learn how to deal with this shit happening in the real world. So if we are to bring these three together, then we are talking about helping, I mean, impacting employees in a way that excellence will be there, learning will be available at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a wonderful one. Please, as the panel discussion is going on, if you have any questions, kindly jot them down. After we are done with this brief discussion, we'll give you the opportunity to also ask your question. Thank you. I would like to bring Dr. Yamoah up into the discussion. Dr. Yamoah, you are more into academia. In your opinion, how do you think the academic curriculum of the UMaT mining department is performing, and how do you think this can be improved to suit the evolving nature of the mining industry?
Thank you very much. So that and allows you to have the discussion. So I would say that the curriculum from the department and the university has probably accreditation where after every 5 years you look at the course you are doing and see if you know the industry of graduation. So as this program is said, all the new course that are being enrolled, artificial intelligence, electrical intelligence, it's not like that as well as we know artificial intelligence. Now we have electrical intelligence, the student can network learn after everything. Also, and there was also in terms of our lectures, also more practicality where you have just lectures. So if I teach the course, let's say, something like I'll make sure that I'm an industry person having been to teach my students how to do their black and some way in setbacks. And that's what we've done in all of today. In just a few weeks, we looked at which are used for the postgraduate house to manufacture exclusive. I was in the plan where the explosive material from America to come in, like, irrespective of how to manufacture exclusive, the emulsion. So by the time we are done with the course, every student kind of appreciate what we've done. Also, there's also the university looking at course like critical thinking. So these are like some of the public courses where even if you're mining there, but technology has to be and you're supposed to be sort of resource. You get like so that's you can have that critical thinking and perspective for your course. And also there's also if you look at the final year, there's more of the business of it's not even technical but when it comes to sports, it's more like more of the business courses, business entrepreneurship, business management, business research, just to help you build your capacity in terms of business. So I think for the part of the curriculum, I think all these things, there's still room for improvement. So I'm saying they are not necessarily this, but whatever the case, after every 5 years, there's room for there's real accreditation, and it's open for inputs from it, for the industry for the next year accreditation structure and do that on the.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clement. UMaT is improving when it comes to the academic curriculum. And Dr. Yali, I would like to also involve you in the panel discussion. Dr. Yali, as conversations around the future of mining continue to gain momentum, there is increasing emphasis on how knowledge is transferred, how professionals are developed, and those who have institutions contribute to shaping industry-ready graduates. So from this perspective, how can mining firms strike a balance between the need to retain a knowledgeable, flexible, and motivated workforce and at the speed at which technology is developing?
Thank you for the information. I think before I start that, just to add up about industry academia patient. So first of all, in order to meet the needs of the industry, academia would definitely know the gaps that have to be filled. That is why UMaT as an institution is now looking at the fact that the teaching staff comes from them are set from the industry. So we have that particular knowledge being transferred. In addition, we're also looking at the fact that even if we are not set parents as a form of agent lectureship, people in the classroom can still be part of the academia profession. We had engineering mentioning the 2 hours. So it's very impact. I'm sure we can just put on that. Now, as to the question of how the industry can sort of be very advanced and also incorporate technology. We know technology keeps advancing, and in every sense of it, the industry has also look at advancing in order to ensure that the work is done efficiently. We know when the industry is about how efficient the work can be done, how safe it can be done, and also how cost effective it can be done. So, as the industry, I am of the view that they would have to, first of all, know what could be improved. That is the first question. What could be improved, and then the how can be improved. We are seeing that we have quite a number of research done, but then we need to, the next gap is how to commercialize it. If all these researches are commercialized, I'm sure it's going to sort of improve the way things are done. And particularly continuous improvement in terms of technology. It has to be intentional. The industry has to be intentional about doing that through investing in their workforce and also investing in the future workforce. That has to do with the institutions who are supplying the workforce to them. So it is not out of place for institutions like UMaT and all these mining institutions to call on industry to sort of open up their doors for us, because the more you open up, the more you're able to also know what you need and then offer that sort of technological help to the industry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nadia, for your response.
So thank you very much. Moving on to my very own general manager, Mr. Kwadwo. So, perspective, the mining industry continues to evolve, and the concept of workforce of the future becomes very central to how we think about sustainability, competitiveness, and the broader impact on the society. And it has become increasingly clear that developing the next generation of professionals is not something that the companies can achieve in isolation. Now, in order to create sustainable talent pipelines, how are mining companies improve that cooperation with governments, communities, business, and other organizations?
Thank you very much for this question, and more than anything to everyone of us. I'm very delighted to be part of this discussion. Look, I believe that in terms of providing workforce for the industry, we need to continue to have a pool of learners and teachers. Okay. And we have our universities that are teaching. Industry and also partner the universities in these aspects. One of the areas is still the digital transformation that we keep talking about. We talk about AI, we talk about robotics. As we there is a collaboration between PhD and Microsoft. They are looking at a mine in Chile called Asubonteng. Microsoft is supporting PhD by using AI to analyze concentrators and data from concentrators, so that to inform operators to be able to make adjustments to certain parameters that will shoot that recovery. We're talking about a copper mine, that is the biggest copper mine actually in the world. And now we look at the demand of copper because of urbanization. This kind of collaboration is so key. That mining companies together with universities can continue to collaborate together so that we look at real-time and actual solutions, instead of always just talking generally about this a typical long-term solution. And that is happening. I was thinking about the book when I heard your picture talking about the difficulties in having attachment to industrial training in the mining competition. And I believe that guidance is what you also bring to bear to the players in the mining industry to be able to support in this regard. If we do not continue this learning and education as a chain, very soon we are going to have issues with providing the workforce for our industries. The studies tells us that about half of the population of mining workers in America by 2025 are going to go on retirement. This poses a huge opportunity for professionals like you, for students like you, to see how we can leverage on the exposure that you need to be able to travel out and work wherever you want to go. And we need to open ourselves to this opportunity. Sometimes when we discuss this stuff, I want to step back a little bit and look at what is even influencing you to take up a course of mining engineering or engineering or whatever. We need to have our students really understand what they want to do. It's unfortunate that people even feel the university before they come clear to themselves exactly what they want to do. And this is a big gap. So we can't force people into things. And one of the things I want to push is to see how we can have liberal engineering courses. You know, where everybody is general engineering course over a period of, for them to really approach the basics of engineering before they can take options in specific areas. Because the way we force people into silos, study mining engineering, study geological engineering, for me, it's not helping the foundational basics that our engineers need to be able to go out along the ladder. So, I don't know if we can have our universities looking at programs like that, but that's one of the advantages of American universities, most American universities, where you have a general engineering program and then you have an appreciation of what you want to do before you continue in that study. These are some of the collaborations we need to have and see how we can bridge the gap, ensuring that we have collaboration, this collaboration with the universities to help us in that study. One other area I want to comment on is also the good news about the university asking for clarification of the mining list. And I remember the last communication with the president ordered the minerals commission to be able to help with that. And these are ways that mining companies can collaborate, you know, to build the capacity in terms of technical and financial support. And I understand UMaT has a memorandum of understanding with Geological. And these are areas of cooperation that I continue to explore and to ensure that we can make that up. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, the General Manager of Adamus Resources, Mr. Kwadwo. So, to Mr. Peter Ansah, to say he as the executive chairman of such a very mine support, this company, and we can see that Panelists is doing well, not just here in Ghana, but then across other countries. Now, how is Panelists positioning itself to gain the workforce of the future, that is, future mining professionals? And how is the company also preparing to receive this new breed of professionals into the industry?
Thank you. We just call them Opoku. Don't worry about all the other listeners and the job for that. Thank you. And so far I've enjoyed the conference. How is the competition itself? Just last week, we trained some engineers and technicians on the use of latest seismic and core penetration equipment in blue tech. That's the latest combined systems. So those are some of the things that we're doing. And we also have, we identify the gap maintenance as a problem. So we have a very rigorous way of
identify and then training is now to fix that now. But to be told, the most important thing is how we perceive or the leadership perceives the problems of the future. Because most companies, not everybody perceives the problem of the future, but he said, we are mechanical. The managers are looking at targets, short-term targets. We are not going to have the rest of targets. So we don't think of what we're going to do to deliver targets. So we need managers to be trained to understand that there is some need for us to go to the future. So people have proper training points. This issues are with managers and any responsibility by because we are too busy on the field. Email is communication, it's a basic line of communication, you do it. Because they don't see the importance of mistakes. So it also emanates from management or the leadership to appreciate the use of such skills into the future. If managers do not appreciate the future, then they are always going to rely on the old stuff and will not, no matter what you train in universities, you cannot get that happening there. Also for the universities, it is important that we examine based on applications and not just on theory. Like the patron said, students are out there for marks, so they just want marks. Rote learning in that sense. Rote learning can always go on textbooks. But when there's application, then you are forced to read conference manuals, conference papers. You are forced to read magazines. You are forced to do other things. But that is where application comes from. So, like I said, it is how we train. The change in pedagogy is relevant to the future. The people that convert our understands to train as technicians, it doesn't matter how we do it. We take between very good units, and out of any 10, the 800 only needed 10. And the system is short distance to the unit 50 was rerows. Out of the 20 to 10. And when we take the 10, the first thing we do that they are giving living processes. Everybody has a root himself, very different from it's like a cultural system, very different from the university, the way they are around 4 or 5 million, very different. You have a common area, a common hall for education. So you stay in there, and guess what? I personally visit the ones of take pictures of how the it is and send it to their supervisor or to their managers and say, if you're going to maintain our machines, they want to see that the environment well maintained. That's the interest of leadership. You don't get it there with so it comes from the again, it's also notice and try to get people out there, research courses. Allow to be but when we are very mistakes that we do, but when very little mistakes of punishment. That's all I do. I throw you into the because my philosophy is very simple. Get out of it and jump the bridge, make your wings on the way down. So the way down, the eagle hits the eaglet out of the nest, but the eaglet never dies. But if you make a biggest mistake, I accept it. You're learning. But if it's a small mistake where I expect it to be faster, I'll say, no, you have to take some ball. And by the time I punish you, I'll tell you to do. So I get your pocket. I take money from your pocket. So that at least it hits you, and that's what it feels. So a new term for instance, for this year is get out of the net.
and make it, and that's back to excellence. Getting out of the net is very simple. The net is no excuses and tomorrow. That's the net. That's the net that will carry us into the future. If you get out of those things, and you know that for sure you can train them into the future.
Wow, thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much to our chairman for the occasion. So at this moment, we are open to questions. If anyone has any question he or she would like to ask, the floor is open now.
I'm not going to ask them before. But that's a comment. It belongs very much. But the 5-year review of our academic curriculum, I think it's true. In 5 years, a lot of things have changed in the industry. The way the industry is changing. I'll tell you what we used to do at campus governments. We are a committee of CEOs from various countries. Australia, South Africa, the United States, the top man revolutions. We take about 4. And then we combine the 4 and then on a yearly basis, they review the academic curriculum. There's also the national professor who is going around to assess the performance of the graduates wherever they are. So there's a database of where the graduates are going. And somebody is going around talking to the federal investigation level on their performance and then identifying the gaps. So I encourage you to start looking at on the yearly basis for the industry is keening up the past year. If you look for 5 years, a lot of our graduates will not come in the industry. So that's the question. The second one is the business. But I'll tell you about students that if our encouragement of leader go out and I come on how that development strategy. What we call is was a forward. And those who form as students will get account of their lecture. When the remaining 40% is practical the attention of the student, and then the practical work and the underground also is managed another school is possible to the transport. The remaining is not all the other device. You can bring as many as for the exams like the science they give the parameters, manage to or the benefit. If you are not enough editorials or the lab sessions, you will end up researching the post researching the post by the time you finish there's an event. So let me just talk about 4 hours. These are the parameters. And if you are not in pain attention, so I encourage you to move forward. So it doesn't allow them to handle the better work. I engaged some students from management departments to look at the clinical of management as explore and they are one of the passion work where what is going to apply all the relevant areas of mind, environment, safety, to geology, to mind, to apply all the family of work. But then to finish it's all application, not sure because I started so I encourage you to move for quiz-based assessments or curriculum assessment to be more accountable.
Thank you very, very much to our engineering division.
Okay, our first question from the
Thank you very much. My question is, with the integration of optimization, digitalization, and advanced mining technologies, what emerging operational health and safety risks are likely to arise, and what control measures and risk management frameworks can be implemented to mitigate them? Hello, please answer the question here. So I'm asking, with emerging technologies, automation and digitalization, what are the emerging occupational health and safety risks that we should anticipate, and what are some of the things or the measures to take? Please, Yamoah.
Thank you very much for the question. It's a very important question. All of that automation and AI and all of that will rather help us to have a hand on our safety systems instead of them creating risk for us. And let us understand that these AIs and these robotics, they are not just directly transferred into the real world. They are on experimental basis. They are simulated in order for you to be able to anticipate the likelihood of the risks that come with it before they are all operationalized. I remember we used to say, mind on the joy, mind on the joy, mind on the joy. When I entered the industry, I didn't see that joy you were talking about. Because we come from underground and we are so tired, when that comes into mind, the shower and then sleep off. The extent that you get exposed to a lot of hazard, as you would mind. But I think one of the things that this AI and robotics have come and have brought in their wake is how you take people away from the line of fire. You know, where you are to physically care, you are now operating remotely so that you are safe. So that is what we need to embrace. Where you have to do the manual work, the labor intensive work, you are giving the done work to the computer. So that is where we must embrace what AI robotics are coming to do in our industry, and try as much as possible to demystify the fear of loss of jobs and employment. It's all about how you see it. Want to see the glass half full or the glass half empty. Thank you very much.
To add to this, I think 2 years ago I went to underground at AusIMM, and I was fascinated by what I saw. I'm just looking at the picture now. The nice cabin about 2 levels away. In its comfort, he has his screens and was operating a remote control scoop truck, cleaning for my cooking stove. That's what I call safety. The rest here is I decided to go and check how good the guy was using the remote control was working. The risk is, if we do not train ourselves properly to understand what we're doing, we will go there, use it, we will save, but the equipment will not save. Because what I found out was the mold of large stones of a piece of rock that littered the roadway was not coming back into the stone. So that's the sort of risk that comes with it. Yes, you're not very strict. But then it comes back from training and leadership. So he has sight of it, he has seen it, but he's very quick to get it comes back to the training piece that Franklin was talking about. Now we need operators to be trained to understand that even the use of these things that see the human exposure, the equipment must also be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you for the response, Mr. Peter. As I was speaking, you mentioned about some geological training the company offers some mining competency. So, as a geological engineering student, which are how can we allow the things? It's
competitive area. We don't just say because that attains that one of the areas that we can contribute to work. And so if you ask me, we went through a competitive process to get it done. So first of all, you must be good. You must understand your area, and you must be broad-minded. Because we do not select it based on just in the dollars. We select it based on having the attitude to add value. It's value addition that based on our selection is value addition. The potential to add value. So when you take the time to an interview and you're just on learning a geology stuff, the geology start by 10%. The rest will be your attitude, your response, your need to get out of the net. Those are the things that we're looking at, because that's in the future. If you have that sort of attitude, you know that you can train and you can take on the future.
So I just want to add to what Kofi has mentioned. He's allowed me to go in Kofi. When I entered the mine as a national service person, he was already a mine manager of a mine. But now I'm just going to do because he has given me the permission. This is what the opportunity this time of this guy is bringing. So we're talking about competitiveness. You know, when you have the opportunity to enter into the mine, you need to identify the problem. You need to study the cycles, study the operations, you know, and see whether you can identify the problem. But you're not looking to meet people who challenge you to do that. Other times, you're lucky you can meet people who have challenged computer science engineering students in my establishment that you are not coming here to fix, or somebody says my mouse is not working, my what do you call it, keyboard is not working, no. You are supposed to be seen as a business intelligence, looking at the process and see how you can make the processes efficient. And so there are a lot of applications that those who have come to do national service that are very comfortable for us. That's normal settings that we have to go and buy these applications. For example, our what do you call it, checklists, LP check and pre-start inspections. They are all automated and they were done by national service people. Our leave system are automated, they were done by national service people. To identify the problem when you go and try this. I said to the engineering, the electrical engineering students, what can you do? I want all lights in the offices to automatically go off when people are not in the office. And you have done that. You need to identify something at the workplace and get it resolved. That's what puts you ahead. Because all of that are done with engineering. What will separate you is for you to be able to fix the problem. Thank you.
So, just like they've said, you need to identify what actually puts you or separates you from the rest. And this is where we talk about things like critical thinking and problem solving. And a lot of the times, like I always say, you have students or candidates defining what problem thinking is and what problem solving is. How are you able to use these two in dealing with those technical challenges? And that's what puts you, or that's what separates you from the others. So when it comes to interview, for instance, the likelihood is that all of you are qualified when it comes to the technical knowledge, because you are engineers, so you can answer all the engineering questions. The question is, in dealing with those challenges, how are you able to apply the critical thinking, all the problem solving skills in dealing with those challenges? And those are the things we should begin to deal with and learn about when it comes to those transferable skills.
Okay, so to add up, this is a geological engineer. I would say that geology is more subjective than objective. If you go into geology, you will realize that it's more subjective than objective. So as they have said, you need to identify a problem. I think I visited the mine recently as an intern, and we went after blasting underground. They said, "Oh, this is waste, this is oil." Like how? Like, oh, they are looking at the sulfides, the quantity of sulfides in it, with the pipes. And I just like this. They said, yes, you see, if you're here for like 3 months, you will be able to do that. So I felt like that's the problem. And research, and I realized that, okay, now with this digital twin, the information that is coming up AI, you will be able to, train, do the machine learning where we can be able to, now, if let's say it's an oil waste, you want to determine after blasting, we can train an AI to be able to do this where it will be less of subjectivity where everybody can go because somebody have declared a stove and all, and the miners have started already calling it or marking it as what a waste. And there was a computer always mentioned that. So these subjects, as a geologist, there are a lot of subjectivity. So you would have to identify some of these subjectiveness and how can we bring them to make them more objective instead of subjectiveness. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for all your insights. Maybe I have one question.
As a student preparing to transition into the mining industry, I would like to ask, in today's rapidly evolving mining environment, what specific habits, mindsets, or early career decisions would you say will distinguish students or young professionals who will be careers from those who struggle to find their
Listen. Discipline solves 80% of the problem. Coming to a place on time is one of the basic things. Putting out to make sure that you meet the targets that you want to turn in those things. In our company, we have 4 values. The first, the second is focus, which reinforces discipline. The third is smart work, which reinforces your ability to interdisciplinary network what you're doing. Because, like you said, I've challenged the electrical engineers who are professional service people to have me and to make tech lighting system. Smart work. And the key have the chance to come back and ask me to explain or come back to me so that maybe tell you the instruction. I say, I thought, what is the fear? So of these things, 12 things, that's what motivates yourself as discipline. The key. Okay.
So maybe I just add something. I've also been a student in, we know the competition. So one thing that I think students could help themselves with in order to put them on their higher position would be to develop soft skills. how to organize the AusIMM classes, and how to organize the interview, one other, and how to improve upon your skills for interview, what will set you apart from the rest. So that's if you are bad.
Okay, so let me add that you must be inquisitive, be nosy, find out what is happening around you, ask a lot of questions, and get yourself exposed. You could be doing all the good things. If you are not exposed, nobody sees what you are doing. It doesn't mean you go around greeting people and saying hi. Let your work expose you. And so what it means is that performance must be key. Ask questions. Be inquisitive about all the things that are happening. What people is always coming up with ideas. These are some of the questions that will be asked. So as a young career person, these are some of the things we should keep in mind.
So to add that, I would say we should also develop emotional intelligence. If you are going to find yourself in the workplace, you are going to deal with human beings. If you are working in the mining company are there with the community. They are not just a standalone. They are in that particular environment with the community, and they have a lot of interaction with the geologists. If you are going to do any exploration, you need to visit the community, let them be aware. What if they say they will not understand, they don't understand, they will be so. You have to learn how to communicate. If somebody gets you out, most of the time in the classroom, you allow someone to talk and the person is interrupted or somebody says something and you see the person and you're like, oh. Then what if you are not starting because the things you guys can say, what if you get angry with all of them? So we have to develop emotional intelligence where you'll be able to withstand all of the everything that will be thrown at that because we are going to deal with human beings where your goals will be set, you know how to set boundaries. You know how to set boundaries, you know your limits, how you interact with people as that has been said, and I think it will help you and set your hearts.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to add this. I don't sympathize with people who say I've worked for 10 years and I've not been promoted. Forgive me if you happen to be one of them. You need to self-motivate yourself. You need to motivate yourself. When you enter into any establishment in any industry, ask yourself, what is the highest point you want to get to? And what will it take you to get there? Remember that you will not get to this highest point in the same firm. It could be in other firms. And I always say that learning has become more easier than before because of all the tools that we have in our disposal. And so be self-motivated and develop yourself. Don't think that your progression depends on somebody at the workplace. It depends on yourself. You are your own limit. It's as simple as that. Most of the courses I attended are courses that I paid for myself. I'm not looking forward for the company to say, go to the course here before I go. You know what you need to get to where you want to go. So just set yourself up and prepare yourself for it and own your own career plan when you enter into the industry. Thank you very much.
So thank you very, very much to our distinguished panelists. We all have questions.
My name is Mamia Benyarku, so and I have 4 questions. I'm not going to do too much. So the first question is, how do mechanical engineers contribute to the mining industry? What skills make you employable when you're a student? What are the final year projects you would suggest to students? And lastly, if you were allowed to go back in time to be a student, what would you change and what would you advise us to do as students? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mechanical engineers, we are using machines to work. So they help even the development of these machines, understanding capacities, understanding the life of these machines, understanding preventive maintenance, and understanding the workspaces so that we'll be able to do the right purchases. And then ensure that we get maximum benefit from the machine that we buy. We let the machine sweat and be able to, for the machine to cover the cost of purchase. So all the machines that we are looking at, that we are seeing the mining industry and all the establishments, they are looked after by mechanical engineers. They also play a very important role in the entire process. Even the mine building of the mine, setting up the mine, the construction of the mine, mechanical engineers are playing pivotal roles in this. You cannot leave them out in the equation. The other question was employable skills for mechanical engineers, or in general. I think it's all about what we have talked about. We have talked about the emotional intelligence that you need, the ability to work with teams. Emotional intelligence is managing your own emotions as well as the emotions of others, not just your own, but the people that you are working with. If you want to become a board, or you are preparing yourself to be a board, obviously you need to get your CV intact. You need to understand easy questions that will be asked during the interview process. If the lot of times and becomes so easy, you can go to the net and you can just type the questions and mechanical engineer will be asked, and all of that will be there. It's so funny. And everybody understands that when we are now entering into the industry, into the industry. And so some of the practical actually not there. But what you can add on to your theory is also some elaboration on how some of the theories are also practicalized at the workplace. Because if everybody will Google and get the same answers, then how can someone stand out? That is the thing you must always ask yourself, how can we stand out? Anything that is available for everybody, you cannot use it for somebody's for your own advantage. I mean, to beat a competition. Everybody can have access to it. So that uniqueness is very, very important. Pushing towards launching yourself a job. And even the opportunity that we are created for the year. I mean, I have a lot of people who have come to do national service or attachment just before the next year and this program. So we must consider all of us together. Thank you.
You made mention of training efforts and advancement. My question is, I'm not trying to discredit manual process, but I feel like a lot of stuff can be automated. And also, I've seen that there's a reliance on external bodies, like for the softwares and tools. How do you plan to reduce that and bridge the gap?
Marketing their companies. That price place position. How we always bring things from outside. You don't know. Yesterday, I happened to at a hotel past the night. I happened to meet a lot of young Muslims enjoying their Eid. And there was this lady when I interact with her, she's a second year student of this school, of this university. We're working together. There were other Muslims that are seated around. So I just asked her, why are you just talking amongst yourselves? Do you know those ones that have the same fraternity? Do you know them? Sorry. Says no. I said, why? Oh, they're not my friends. What is she? So I said, no. I talked to one of them. So I facilitated her. She asked, and this was, and I knew also who was in National Service of Opoku. She also did mining. We are doing chemical engineering. So at least if you have that relationship and position yourself to the base, and that's what I'm trying to know. But if you have designed any software or you have an idea of this or something, position yourself. You make yourself ready like that. Then people want and give you the chance. So just said, I have designed the social in-house. In fact, what we are designing now is a dashboard. Myself and my chairman, we are two lazy people. I'm not always going around that. So I want a dashboard that snapshot, I can see everything go down. It's so nice that when I look at the demo, I was so excited for you that everything was on the dashboard. This is being done by maintenance, chemical engineering. So these things are all available. So if you can really position yourself, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Better ones are there, but the small ones are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
So my name is my question is, so I've heard a lot about onboarding and training, and I would like to ask, when recruiting new employees or NSS personnel, how do you assess their capabilities in relation to your company's processes and systems, especially when those things on workflows are confidential and not accessible to the public?
Well, thank you very much for that question. So the first thing I would say is that most of those things are not confidential. It's probably because you have not searched well enough. No company will hide values, mission, processing, and process. They are there. So you just need to search. So that is why when you're going for interviews, like you said, connection. So the example he just gave us. Assuming you were the one who have been able to establish that connection with the national service guy at Coachings, and you've been called for an interview at Coachings, you have somebody to talk to. That person will be able to lead you on some information that you probably wouldn't have found. On the second part, you said a lot about transferable skills. So aside your technical skills and all that, most organizations will be looking at your ability to lead by their values. And those are the things you should always look out for. If you can perform, but so if you have all the technical skills and you can't aim to cause another thing, then of what value are you to the organization? So those values, you must look at the values. Don't just look at the values and recite them and mention them. How do you apply those values to those technical skills you need? Nobody asks you what is the value of the value. In the question that is asked, you will ask such that it is expected that you are able to tell us that in doing this, I will leave this value. So those are the things you should be looking at, not the definition. How do you practicalize it? When you come in, ask for the onboarding
and then the training would come in after you have been successful in coming into the organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, let's take about 3 more questions.
Good morning. My name is Abigail. I'm mining engineer at Anglogold Ashanti, Iduaprim mining, specifically mining projects and FMS. So, about the communication Dr. Ansah talked about, before I knew my service, Engineer Henry told me one thing. He said, before you start doing any task given to you, ask every necessary question concerning it so that you deliver the best. Don't assume you understand everything. If you don't take care, you mess up. And that was the turning point for me. Every task I'm giving, I ask questions. And when I get all the necessary questions right, I deliver. Now to my question. Dr. Atta, when you were talking, he said that now UMaT is becoming more practical. You are being more practical compared to theory. But this is the case, UMaT keeps on admitting lots and lots of students, especially with the mining engineering department. And the mining companies in the country is limited. The rate at which UMaT is admitted is not the same rate at which mining companies are being established in the country. So my question is, what influenced that decision to admit more students? And when you look at the quality of engineers that were produced when lesser number of students were being tutored, compared to the quality of engineers being produced now that students are made, has there been a positive evolution or is a negative evolution? I want an answer to that question. And my second question is, mostly when you are seeking for slots for attachment in tertiary national service, you are more concentrated on the mining companies, the mother companies, Anglogold, UMaT. But I also think that the subcontractors, they work directly with their mine, and sometimes they are doing basically everything. When you take UMaT as a contractor company for Anglogold Ashanti, they do the drilling, the blasting, the load and fall. Like basically everything operational, they are doing it. Why don't you consider seeking slots from such companies as well, the subcontractors? For example, we have the student services now, which is very wise with Anglogold, that's the subcontractor. And this student, though he's very wise, he has been brought to Anglogold to rotate around everything. So he's also getting the same value as those doing attachment, the service with Anglogold and also. Do the university consider the subcontractors as well, or your focus is merely on the mother company? That's my question.
Thank you very much.
So I think from the training side, the focus, as I said, is already on the other company. Because they are in the team of minds. They normally bring the slot and maybe one but from the rest of knowledge, I know that there's room for letters to give you to if you can secure a slot. That's why you have to secure a slot in the other places. Okay, so for the other companies, they normally give you like 1% of students, 1% of students. But apart from that, it's also open, the other companies are open. So if you can get a position there, you can bring a come to the training office. So that would be this company, I mean the lecture. The university has not really contact where we have MOU with other smaller companies. No, we do, but like in terms of really getting slots from them, some really are slot, but some you have to go in there and fix for the slot. Okay, so I remember there's some few sentences ago. Now, one of the things is like what attachment. Okay, so what I did was take a call to one of the companies, Oracle, okay. And they told that you should read the names, one person from mechanical, one person from electrical, one mining. And so that way there's no accounting for the student. So sometimes we have to go in there and fish for the sport. But for the other company, they making the sport and what is the most it's still open to the smaller companies also. There's opportunity for the other smaller companies, as you said. For the first question, the second question. But the first question, so the university has done a strategic plan where the aim was to increase the number of students, like per 13 years, the number of students. So now, I think we are around 40,000, 10,000, 15,000. Yeah, so that's the strategic plan that like after every 10 years, we want to increase the number of students. So, and also, remember, because of free education, there's also been a lot of the pressure from the government to admit more students. Because if there's free education, more people are coming to what you do that is students. You have to be admitted to the university. So that's also resulted in the large number of students. Also now question the importance of mining. Every parent wants their child to do mining books here. So even as lecturers, we receive calls several. I don't every lecturer we receive calls. I want my child to do mining today. I want my child to do mining today. So there's kind of pressure maybe I think more of them. I'm not going to the best decision so far because the mines are not always expanding. Now new mines coming up every now and then. Still the same old mines. Also, so it's also going that I'm not that kind of, but at least I will give everybody opportunity to something, to learn something. And Ghana is not the only state, or the Ghana is not the only place to be trained or to apply your mind skills. There are several places worldwide. In there, we talk about agriculture, different places, marine. So I think we should not only focus, let's only focus on mine, but on Ghana. I focus only on Ghana. After school, I want to break it down. And that's it. If you want to think about going other places. I know most people supposed to do grad school, like after their BSc, to go outside to do grad school. And if I look at the statistics, I love the numbers, but all those are people who have gone to do grad school outside and working on money, to my best of knowledge. So you can say that's also another place you can also challenge the graduate where after your BSc, look at way of going outside to do that, then the grad school can impact your money. That's
Yeah, just to add something to what Dr. Clement has said. There's going to be a skill gap in terms of mining professionals. We heard managers saying that. So UMaT, as the center of excellence for training engineers, we have chances for that, and we are training more professionals for that. We know that BSc is, in today's world, is a basic sort of requirement now. So opening up more for mining professionals does not necessarily mean that we want to push them into the last level. There are other things they do. There are other areas that mining engineers would work in aside the mining industry. Besides that, we as a country have also realized the need to integrate mining professionals into our large that we push them there for internship for national service. We hope that it will help to streamline their system. And then also, second question about whether having this thought that we are
8 students. Then I came up with an idea that any student that had first class, that would get first class, I would reward the person. But for my surprise, I thought it was going to be very few students. By the time the list came out, it was mind-blowing, and I was really excited. And I realized that AusIMM Tarkwa Chapter is not just a chapter, but a chapter of academic excellence. And I also have that strong belief that the students we see today, based on this kind of performance, they are going to dominate in the mining industry in the next 10 years to come. So going through the list, one thing I realized is that the females were very few. So I think that day I was in the office with Lady Belinda Jenny, the founder of Panelists and Homes. And she's one woman empowerment activist. And she was like, wow, we can do more. The ladies, we can do more. Now it has come to conclusion that ladies always challenge men, that what a man can do, a woman can do. I want the ladies here to channel that same energy to that level in academics, not just by math or any just mere competition. If you can do what a man can do, you can do what a man can do also in academics. And this year, I'm looking forward that since the number was 38 last year, I want to see the number maybe around 50, 60. Then I've also promised my team and my financial guys in my company that we are going to make a massive donation towards that. We are dedicating a fund for that every year, and we are going to also next year at a needy brilliant student, especially the females in data. What I will do is that the future is bright. You are in your final year to complete. I will encourage you to learn hard. I know it's not going to be easy, but once you set a goal for yourself, you can achieve that. The future is bright. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osei, and thank you for your support to the AusIMM Tarkwa Student Chapter. We will now move on to the distribution of awards. There are some individuals whose contribution and service to the AusIMM Tarkwa Student Chapter has been recognized. So, on behalf of the AusIMM Tarkwa Student Chapter, we'll call on our very own founder, Engineer Henry Entry, to do us the honor in presenting these awards. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. So the first recipient of the award goes to our president, Mr. Mahmoud Benyarku. Thank you very much, Mr. Yamoah, and thank you for your service. The second award goes to our very own patron, Dr. Clement Kweku Arthur. Thank you very much, Dr. Clement. Thank you very much. Thank you, Engineer. So we are now moving on to the concluding remarks, and we will have that from our own chairperson for today's conference, Mr. Kofi Peter Amponsa. Please do us the honor, sir.
So, protocols observed. Gives me great pleasure to summarize my observations for the presentation, for the conference. One of the things I learned, and I think we have achieved at this conference, will be to look at the three main points that has been the foundation of the theme of the conference. And I think it was a workforce, our capabilities, and the change. That was addressed well by our sponsor. And by so doing, I realized that we've also come out together as a team to address most of these things on that basis. Last night, I witnessed the capability that we have, the capability in the sort of presentations that were made that address the future and the future trajectory of the mining industry and the mining industry. What was absent is that in future such leadership is needed. It's critical and crucial. But I ask my question, what is internship? Internship does not really mean working just in a mine. It means that identifying the areas that you can work that will bring value to the course which you are doing. That is internship. I see mechanical engineers will not want to work at a fishing shop because they think that is below its standard. But I'll tell you, when I was coming up in the mine, I learned how to shovel. At that time, the design of a stove and the shoveling distance, the crosscuts were 15 feet apart. So that the throw of a shovel was basically 12 and a half feet. So based upon that, that was the way it was designed. And we had to learn how to shovel. And because of the difficulty in shoveling, I started thinking of how can I get a scraper? And how can I get a loader? So when I read that in the manual, in the magazines, I could propose that to my superiors. These are important things that we must learn. Again, at this conference, we have also identified that short courses for leadership are of great importance. And this means that the university must take advantage of these short courses, well designed, that will bring some knowledge and exposure to leaders in the mine. The conference has also exposed examinations where theory will be limited to maybe 30%, and the rest we can have more application-based courses so that people are forced. And I say we must be intentional if we want to train people to meet the future. One of the things I notice here is that research-based pedagogy must also have a commercial bias. Because if you have the research, no matter how nice it is, if it's not, the economics are not good, it will be shelved. So we need to get research-based things that have a lot of commercial basis.
I mentioned the use of the dashboard as an example for interdisciplinary collaboration. And so it is important that this workshop tells us for the future, we need to look at how we train ourselves to meet the future requirements. We know that we know how to train ourselves. Change of mindset, we cannot get there. Otherwise, Africa will continue to be the warehouse for reserves and for deposits. If we want to come out of it, the human resource capabilities must be enhanced. And I thank you all for attending this workshop, and I know that your takeaways will see a mind change set in you. Thank you for your attendance. God bless you.
Thank you to Mr. Kofi Peter and Ansah Mensah. We will now move
individual and young professionals like myself. We also appreciate Dr. Clement Ansah, Dr. Clement Benyarku, for his continuous support for the organization. We appreciate the panelists and the speakers, Mr. Kwadwo, Ms. Benyarku, Ms. Geological, Mr. Thank you for sharing your perspective and experiences. We would like to extend our greatest appreciation to Mr. Blessing for secretary for his long-lasting commitment to professional growth for Special thanks goes to AusIMM Student Chapter leadership and organizing whose dedication and hard work ensure a successful event. To the professionals, graduates, and participants who attended this conference, thank you for your precious contribution. Finally, to individuals who donated, to individuals who supported UMaT Main, from logistics team to the volunteers, please accept our sincere gratitude. To our partners, to our sponsorship and partners, Pamiko Ghana Limited, Joe Crest, A4 Mining Company, A4 Mining Services, Master Drawing Ghana, and all individuals who supported us. Thank you for your generosity, because it was that made this event possible. As we bring this conference to an end, let's remember the future of the mining industry will not only be shaped by technology and innovation, but the people we invest in, the knowledge we share, and the capacity we build today. Together, let's remain committed to building a resilient, skilled, and future-ready force for changing the mining industry. On behalf of the AusIMM Tarkwa Chapter, I thank you all sincerely for your presence. your support, and your valuable contribution to this event. I wish everyone safe journey to all your various destinations. Those from Benin, Gateways, Main Campus, of AusIMM, thank you very much for showing up. Thank you very much once again for showing up, and we look forward to see you next year. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adolf Clinton. We have in our midst Dr. Silas Anand. He is a resident family physician and also a research reviewer. Dr. Silas, please give us a brief. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much, distinguished guests, panelists, fellow students, graduates. As we bring this conference to a close, I would like to leave you with a simple thought. The knowledge, insights, and experiences shared here today should not end in this auditorium. Let us carry them with us, apply them, and allow them to shape how we think, how we work, and how we grow. Because ultimately, what we do with what we learned is what really makes the difference. Thank you.
And as we breathe today, let us remember that the future of learning is not just about puppets or smarter machines or hiring up. It's about people, skilled, adaptable, innovative, and purpose-driven professionals. Let us think capacity, let us think sustainability, and let us think leadership, think professional development, think AusIMM. Thank you very much.
So we will now proceed to the networking session. Please take this opportunity to connect and build meaningful industry connections. Also, distribution of certificates will follow after the networking session. But before we go to the networking session, we would like to call on Mr. Jonathan Amon to lead us in a closing prayer. Mr. Jonathan, please let's have you.
Thank you.